was the year 2002 when Alex first noticed the strange boy across the street. The boy, named Benjamin, was about 10 years old, but Alex had never seen him play outside. His parents had just moved into the house a few months ago, and since then, Benjamin had remained locked away behind the thick curtains and closed windows. There was always something odd about the house, an unsettling stillness that seemed to emanate from within, even though the lights were always on. Benjamin's face was rarely seen, hidden beneath layers of bandages that covered his head, with only the faintest trace of his eyes peeking through. He never went outside, never interacted with anyone in the neighborhood. He stayed in his room, staring out of his window as the other children played in the streets. His parents, whom Alex had never seen up close, seemed to be extremely protective of him, keeping him away from the outside world. Alex often wondered what it was like to be Benjamin, to never feel the warmth of the sun, to never play tag or run through sprinklers in the summer heat. Noticed that Benjamin would occasionally wave at him from the window, a sad little wave, as though wishing he could join the others. They never spoke aloud, but sometimes Alex would write him notes on scraps of paper, pressing them against his window for Benjamin to see.
"How are you doing today?"
Alex once wrote. Benjamin responded almost immediately with a hastily scribbled note.
"I'm fine, just bored."
The next day, Benjamin's note was different.
"I'm not allowed to go outside,"
he wrote, his words trembling slightly.
"My parents are afraid people will laugh at me."
Alex didn't fully understand. He had seen the bandages before, but he had no idea what was underneath them. Benjamin never explained, and the idea that something might be so bad that it required covering his entire face never fully occurred to Alex. Benjamin's parents were secretive, and Alex learned from whispers around the neighborhood that they were scientists, obsessed with their work. Benjamin told him that they spent most of their time in the basement, emerging only to feed him and to take care of whatever he needed. The boy's world seemed bleak, like a prison with no way out.
"They say I slipped on some chemicals,
Benjamin once explained.
and it ruined my face. They don't want me to be seen."
There were rumors that Benjamin had been hurt by an accident, but no one really knew the full story. The more Alex heard, the more it troubled him. Yet, despite everything, Benjamin seemed like a good kid, a little odd, but kind-hearted. He loved superheroes, and he often talked about how he dreamed of becoming one, like a scientist who had been altered by an experiment gone wrong.
"I'm like the guy who gets hit by a chemical and gains power."
Benjamin had once written, a small smile creeping onto his face.
"But I don't feel powerful, just broken."
One day, things took a darker turn. It started with a group of older kids standing across the street, throwing pebbles at Benjamin's window and laughing as they taunted him. Alex watched from his own window, helpless, as Benjamin stared back at them. He didn't fight back. He didn't even cry. He just sat there, motionless.
"They do this every week."
Benjamin wrote the next day.
"I don't mind it much anymore."
But Alex couldn't shake the image of Benjamin's sad face, his loneliness. He wanted to do something, anything, but he didn't know what. Then, a week later, something worse happened. Alex saw it unfold right before his eyes. He had just gotten home from school when he spotted Benjamin's face in the window, but this time, it wasn't like any other time. Benjamin's face was visible, his eyes wide and filled with terror. He was clutching a piece of paper, pressing it to the glass. Alex could see the bloodshot tears streaking down his cheeks. The note Benjamin pressed against the glass read,
"Help me."
Alex's heart pounded. Benjamin was trying to tell him something urgent. But before Alex could react, he saw her, Miss Thorne, Benjamin's terrifying babysitter. Miss Thorne was a tall woman with a permanent scowl etched across her face. Her thick glasses magnified her eyes in a way that made her look more like a creature than a person. She entered Benjamin's room, holding something in each hand, a lemon in one and a pair of scissors in the other. Alex watched, horrified, as Miss Thorne forced Benjamin onto his bed, holding his head still with one hand. Benjamin cried out, but his voice was muffled by the bandages. He didn't stand a chance. Miss Thorne cut away the bandages, revealing Benjamin's face, or what was left of it. The skin was burned, blistered, raw, as though it had been melted off by acid. The horror of seeing it nearly made Alex sick to his stomach. One of Benjamin's eyes was swollen, dark, as if it had been crushed. Then Miss Thorne squeezed the lemon into Benjamin's open wounds. Alex could hear Benjamin's muffled screams, and it tore at his heart. The acid burned into Benjamin's raw skin, and he squirmed in agony. Alex couldn't just watch anymore. He had to do something. Running downstairs, his heart racing, Alex locked the door behind him and grabbed the phone. His hands shook as he dialed 911, explaining everything as quickly as he could. His voice trembled as he described the abuse he had witnessed, the pain he knew Benjamin was enduring. The operator assured him that help was on the way. It felt like hours before the police arrived, though it was only a matter of minutes. They took him aside, asking him to explain what had happened. Alex told them everything about the secretive parents, about Miss Thorne, and about Benjamin's scars. He didn't leave out a single detail.
Your friend,
the officer said gravely.
He wasn't adopted, Alex. His real parents were not scientists. They took him from an orphanage years ago. They experimented on him, chemically altered him, tortured him to study pain thresholds, and Miss Thorne was part of the whole thing.
Alex stared at the officer in disbelief.
What do you mean? What happened to Benjamin?
The officer looked at him, his face grim.
We've been tracking these people for years. They've taken dozens of children from various orphanages. Benjamin was just one of many.
But the most chilling part came later, when they told him that Miss Thorne had already been arrested for child abuse, along with Benjamin's parents. The police had found evidence that confirmed they had been performing horrific experiments. 30 children were reported missing. Benjamin was one of them. Benjamin was taken to a new family after the incident, a family that had been carefully vetted. Alex never saw him again. Years passed, and the memories of that time faded. But something remained. Alex couldn't escape the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Then, nearly 20 years later, Alex walked into a local bar, hoping to forget. He ordered a drink and settled into a booth, but as he looked around, his gaze landed on a man sitting at the bar, a man who seemed oddly familiar. It was Benjamin. He looked different, older, healthier, with a well-groomed appearance. His face was free of bandages, his features handsome in an almost unnerving way. His eyes, though, still had that cold, distant look.
Alex?
Benjamin's voice was low, but unmistakable. Alex stared at him, confused.
Benjamin, is that really you?
Benjamin's smile was unsettling, like a mask of politeness.
It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Alex, too shocked to speak, tried to piece together what had happened, but before he could ask any questions, Benjamin leaned in closer.
I never thanked you for what you did.
Benjamin said, his voice growing colder, more sinister.
You see, I was in pain, Alex. But I'm not anymore, not since they brought me back.
Alex's eyes widened, confusion swirling inside him.
What do you mean brought you back?
Benjamin's grin stretched unnaturally wide.
They never let go, you know? The experiments didn't stop just because you called the cops. They just changed the method. I learned a lot from them. And now, so have you.
Benjamin suddenly grabbed Alex's wrist with terrifying strength, twisting it painfully.
They made me who I am, and I'm gonna make you just like me.
In an instant, Benjamin pulled out a small syringe from his coat pocket. Alex struggled, but the needle was already in his arm before he could react.
You can't stop it now.
Benjamin whispered, watching Alex's expression change from shock to horror.
The same experiment, the same transformation?
Alex's vision blurred. He felt his limbs grow weak, his mind foggy. He realized, too late, that he had been drawn into the web of the very thing he had tried to escape. Benjamin smiled as Alex's consciousness faded. The experiment had always been meant to continue, and now Alex was a part of it.